Hello, and welcome to Plant Based Cooking with AARP Alabama. I'm your host, Tawana Wright, and today's recipe is going to be fried mushrooms with spicy sesame tomato dipping sauce. Um, Folks, we want to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. Since the pandemic began, we have made it a point to offer sessions that allow you to stay in your house and still learn things and grow and have opportunities for activities. So today we are proud to be able to bring you the cooking class with Chef Kim. Chef Kim, how are
Hi,
you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here this morning.
All right. Well, we got the recipes for today, and I think folks are going to be excited because it looks like a great football treat.
Yes, so we're excited too.
All right. Well, I'm going to get out of the way because nobody wants to see me. They came to see you.
So, hello everyone. I'm going to slip my gloves on and we're going to talk about mushrooms a little bit today. And I will probably deviate from the recipe a little bit, so it's my fault. But I just got so excited when I was picking out these mushrooms. So we've all had fried mushrooms, I'm sure, at some restaurant or another. And so what I have here are some local oyster mushrooms, and I'm going to just kind of pull them apart. I've got those. I've got some lovely lion's mane mushrooms, and then a few button mushrooms as well. But you can use whatever kind of mushrooms you like. I have the batter or the pre-batter here, the flour. This is self-rising flour, and I put a little seasoning in here just so that the mushrooms will hold on to the batter better. I'm going to turn our oil on. I've got grapeseed oil that I've been heating up here in our induction burner. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of lightly, gently pull this apart. So if you want to cut them, you can. But we're going to make the batter that we're making today is like a tempura batter. So this is a really cheap, quick way to do it. Most recipes call for cornstarch and some kind of soda water or something like that. But when you're using this kind of flour, the self-rising flour, all the ingredients in there help to make whatever it is you're frying just kind of poof up. So we're going to start with that. I have already wiped off our lion's mane mushrooms. And you just want to get any dirt that's remaining off of there. And I'm going to cut this in half. Okay. And put this over in the bag. And get a little bit more of the lion's mane. And I'm just taking it away from its base. That part there. I can't wait to try these. And since we're putting everything in here, I'll just go ahead and get these button mushrooms as well. I don't know if you guys can see them. Try to make a little room. And just want to trim the stem of the button mushrooms and put them in the bag as well. And just cut them. These are pretty large. If you got smaller ones, you don't have to cut them. But the ones that I have are pretty big. And just cut them in half. Put them in our seasoned flour. And you can season this with salt, pepper, a little cayenne maybe if you want, some granulated garlic, or just salt and some pepper, whatever you like. Now, when we get to our batter, you've got to just kind of work the consistency where you like it. It's probably going to be however, like double the amount of liquid as you have flour. you want it a little runny but thick at the same time. So a little bit thinner than pancake batter, kind of is how I would envision it. So if you start out with 1.5 cups of flour, you might want to definitely do 1.5 cups of water, and then you may add another 1/2 cup. But you just kind of have to keep adding the water till you get it to the consistency that you like. So we're going to go ahead and start with our oyster mushrooms in here first. Just shake off some of the batter in there. Drop my spoon down in there by mistake. And just mix them around a little bit. And then you're going to take your mushroom and you're going to go right into the oil here. And you want to kind of swim it in the oil. And this oil is pretty hot. You want to just kind of, because you'll have little pieces of the batter that will break off and make little crunchies, which are nice. But you want to try to swim it around so that you don't have a lot of that in your oil. And the heavier that you have this batter, the thicker you have this batter, the heavier it will be on your mushroom. So just keep that in mind. If you want sort of a lighter, crispier, well, they're all going to be crispy, but if you want a lighter, crispier batter, then you can add more water to it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to toss and they're going to cook fairly quickly. I had this on 350. You might want to put it a little higher to start, but we don't have all day, so you want to make sure it gets done in a fair amount of time. So to the mushrooms, I'm just going to make sure they're fully coated like so. Okay. Just make sure they all, and see the flour that was in the Ziploc bag, it is also making the batter thicker. So if you want to thin it out as you go, you can do that too, just so that you can keep a pretty consistent consistency of the mushrooms. So once you have something in the oil, you really don't want to put anything else cold in the oil because you will bring the temperature down. So I'm going to pull these out. And I'm not completely deep frying them, even though there's a fair amount of oil in this wok that we're using today. And I've got some already over here that I did before we got started. Okay. All right. Go ahead and put these in, and we're going to put all of these in. That way we can plate them up together. So I'm just going to kind of swim them around like I mentioned. Try to get all the liquid off in the bowl. Swim them around. Got a button mushroom. We got our oyster mushroom. And one more oyster.
Lion's mane mushrooms.
I didn't hear that.
Where did you find lion's mane mushrooms?
So locally, I don't know where they're calling from, but I got them from, you can get them from farmers markets. This is a nice time to get them. Locally in Birmingham, there's a store called Local Source, and it's like a farmers market, but a grocery store. It's really wonderful. They've got a lot of produce from local farmers, and a lot of people are growing mushrooms these days. So it's really a neat time to just explore and see what's out there. So next we're going to start on this sauce. And like I said, I'm going to deviate again. And so what we're going to do is we're going to puree, just for the sake of time, we're going to puree our sauce, and then we're going to heat it and cook it through. So we're going to start with, and I'm going to add a little bit more liquid to that. So we're going to start with our mushrooms. Now, if you want, you can use, not mushrooms, I'm sorry. We're going to start with our tomatoes. If you want, you can use fresh tomatoes and a little bit of tomato paste, okay? But I've got whole peel tomatoes here. I prefer whole peel tomatoes because you're going to get the majority of your product in that can if you're using, a canned product, as opposed to getting diced tomatoes or something like that. To me, it's like just the remnants or something of what they're really trying to offer you. So I'm going to try to use mostly the tomato and less of the liquid, unless I need liquid later on if I feel like it's too thick. And I'm going to check our mushrooms here in a second. I don't want them to burn. But we're going to go with, I think it said 14 ounces. So that's going to be almost 2 cups. And I'm kind of squishing them as I'm putting them in this measuring cup. And I may end up using all of the tomatoes that were in this can. I think I am. And that's, just got it on myself. That's going to put us right at the 14 ounce mark. Okay. All right. I'm going to pour this right on over into the Vitamix. And I'm going to check on our mushrooms. They are browning nicely. I'm going to just turn them over. And with this batter, it doesn't get really dark. The only time I think you would probably have like if you wanted a darker brown color, like a caramel color, is if you are reusing your oil. So I know a lot of times we look for different things, and that's probably why it could still have a nice crisp to it, but the oil is fresh, and that's why it's not dark like some people think they want it fried hard. So it's puffing up really nicely there, as you all can see, and we'll just let this cook through. And once it cooks through on that side, it'll be done, and we can take it out and put it on our paper towels. I'm gonna go ahead and get some paper towels going. We can drain it on them when those come out. All right. So, I feel like I got tomato on me. So we're gonna get back to our sauce. And we've got our tomatoes already in there. I have some ginger, garlic, and red onion already cut up. We're gonna throw that inside. And if you have not used fresh ginger or don't know how to peel the ginger, I'll just give you a little quick tip. Basically, you take the ginger and you take a metal spoon, and then you just peel it just like that. And the only thing that's coming off in the trash is the peel. So the meat, if you will, of the bulb of ginger is still there. So you're not losing your product. You're just getting the skin off there. So see how that is? I still got a little bit on there, but I just wanted to show you a quick little easy technique to do that. So I'm going to add that in here. Like I said, we've got our 4 cloves of garlic, ginger, and our 1 cup of red onions. Okay. And next, we're going to add our coconut aminos. So this is to be used in the place of soy. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of this. And I'm going to be going back and forth because I don't want to burn our mushrooms. Looks like they're pretty much ready. 2 tablespoons of that. And this is sort of a Tibetan recipe. I actually had some little momos, which are like fried dumplings, and sometimes you can steam them as well. but I had them at this brunch event that was outside a few years ago, and the sauce was this wonderful sesame tomato sauce, and I was kind of added sesame oil to my tomato soup, and I just love the flavors of that, and so I just thought that it would be a nice treat to do with a dipping sauce with some fried mushrooms. But you can certainly do the momos, the the dumplings, and they're little fried vegetable dumplings or steamed vegetable dumplings, um, however you like to do that. So I think we've got good color on these mushrooms, and we can take them all out and drain them before we get ready to plate them up. Like I said, this is just if you've been afraid to do a tempura batter, this is a easy way to do it. You can fry all kinds of vegetables, cauliflower, um, broccoli, squash, make little sticks, zucchini sticks out of, and dip them and fry them and just have a whole tempura batter uh, fry. And it'd be great for, like Tawana mentioned, game day, and just have a plethora of different veggies there. Next, we're going to add our sesame oil. So it says sesame seeds, but I want a toasted sesame flavor. So I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, and I'm gonna keep it nearby just in case we want to add some more sesame flavor to the dish. Okay. Next, we have lemon juice, a 1/2 cup of lemon juice. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add this water in, this 1 cup of water. Seems like a lot, but I think that was a lot of tomatoes we used. So I've got fresh lemons here. I'm squeezing the juice out. We just need 1/4 cup. We probably will need the whole lemon. And I'm going to pull the seeds out after I get through squeezing them here. Okay. And just gonna pull the seeds out. This is our discard container. All right. Just get rid of the seeds. And then we will measure this and make sure we've got the right amount of lemon juice. Okay. There's our measuring cup. We'll just go ahead and pour this in. I think we're gonna have just perfect. All right, I'm gonna add that to it. Okay. And then last but not least, it calls for a ton of red chili flakes. I'm not gonna use that much, folks. I'm gonna use just a little bit of cayenne pepper. I do want it to have a little bit of a kick. So, but let's start with 1/4 teaspoon, which still probably gonna be a little hot, but so do a little bit less. Okay. Now, it already smells good, that sesame oil, guys. I'm gonna put the lid on, and remember, the Vitamix is kind of loud, so here we go. And in order to make this a really smooth texture, you've got to blend it for 90 seconds. So we're gonna go full fire. All right, I think we're good on that. I'm just gonna taste it and see if we need to adjust any seasonings. It's really good. It needs something. Um, I'm going to add some of my spice blend to that. So just a little bit of salt and garlic, granulated garlic, because oftentimes when we're tasting things, we think it needs something, and it's not always salt or pepper or whatever, and it's flavor. And so that's why you want to add your granulated garlic, because that's where your flavor comes in. So we're just going to kind of stir that through. Taste it again. That's good. Add a little bit more of our coconut aminos as well. And it's not terribly hot at all. I mean, if you wanted to really make yours spicy, you could add a half of a teaspoon of the cayenne as opposed to a quarter, and then it would really have kick. But this is just an under layer of heat. It's not obtrusive. And add a little bit more of the seasoning, and then put our top on it. And again, I'm going to stir that through. Okay. Taste it one last time, and then we're going to go right into this pan and heat it up and heat it through. Okay. It's really good and fresh. So we're just going to heat that through till it starts to bubble up a little bit. And I like, with these types of flavors, I would really like something like some basil in here, which is really good with this flavor profile. Not a lot, just enough to where we can kind of get the flavor going through. So I've got some fresh basil. It's really pretty. And we're going to cut some leaves of the fresh basil and put it in here. Just going to chop them just lightly, sort of bruise them so that they will make the sauce fragrant as well. That's maybe about a tablespoon. I was really just going to use the basil as a garnish, but I want that flavor in this sauce as well. We got any questions?
I had two questions actually. Um, we're not chefs, so sometimes we don't know about the seasoning. So it just depends on your taste and what you prefer. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't hear the first part. They wanted
Okay,
to know.
so sometimes when you make the modifications, you
Uh-huh.
know, and sometimes we don't know what we're doing. We're not chefs. Um,
Okay.
is it a good practice to, if you're searching or if something's missing, to always add a little bit more of the spice blend?
Well, it really just depends. Like, what is it missing? Is it missing body? If that's the case, like you might want to add more of the tomatoes or add tomato the sauce, at
The
that
juice.
and that the tomatoes were in. If you're feeling like it just is missing a little bit of flavor, a little bit of kick, garlic and some allium is always kind of going to be my go-to,
Okay.
and that's what's in the spice blend. And of course, if you wanted the kick, like I modified mine, I didn't make it so hot because I'm making it for the audience here to taste as well. And so I want them to be able to enjoy it and not just kind of be in your face
Okay.
with it. So yeah, I mean that it is my go-to when I'm cooking, the spice blend for sure. But it's just Himalayan sea salt, granulated garlic, and black pepper.
Okay.
So I hope that answers it a little bit.
Yeah, and also I like the idea of adding basil to that
Mm-hmm.
sauce
Mm-hmm.
because basil and tomatoes they do seem to go together really well.
Yes. Yes.
Folks, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat.
All right. It's starting to bubble up a little bit, and I am going to go ahead and start plating up our mushrooms here. We've got some oyster mushrooms, and we have some of the lion's mane, oyster here. Got some button mushrooms. And this is just a treat. You know, you don't want to have something fried every day, but just thought it would be fun to do this today. Add another lion's mane. And another button mushroom. Okay. And I'm going to dice up a little bit, shred a little bit of that basil. Put it on top. Got our sauce heated through. And if you feel like, if you're using fresh tomatoes, and you want to add, some depth to it, I think I mentioned you can add a little bit of tomato paste to it as well, which is a canned product, but it will go nicely with the fresh tomatoes. If you feel like canned tomatoes are too acidic, you can always add a little pinch of honey or agave to this to just kind of brighten it up, not to make it sweet, but just to cut through the acid. Okay. And we'll get some fresh basil. Chop up and put on top. Do some little skinny little ribbons. Okay. And I think we're good to go on this sauce. Turn it down a little bit. Like I said, everything's just kind of heated through. If you want the sauce to be thicker, you can add less water. You can keep cooking it down until it gets really thick or thicker. And there you have it, folks. Something really simple and easy. You can put it out for your guests, and they can enjoy it, and just have something different. Like if you were grilling or whatever you were planning on doing, this could be already sitting out, and they can enjoy that before you get everything coming off the grill. But there you have it, our fried mushrooms with our spicy sesame tomato sauce.
Looks good. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. Folks, thank you for joining us today. Remember, our next cooking class is coming up on October 21st. And I think, Chef Kim, you said you're doing warm chili, warm spicy chili.
Right. We're going to do a plant-based chili. I didn't want to use the word raw, but it's going to be warm. We're going to warm it with our Vitamix and warm it through, but it's going to be a hearty chili, and I think everybody will enjoy it.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Folks, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.